Hello, hello! Welcome to our live stream. I'm Jacob. I'm part of Ectoplastic and MazeTools. Today I want to talk about the structures of MazeTools.Soniface, because there are different modes you can use the software, and I want to just answer some questions which are coming frequently, like about inserting own samples or how to handle the different design modes. If you have any questions, just write into the chat, or you can also write us an email. We will answer this within the next live stream. Here we are. You can now see the startup menu. I'm now on the Soniface Pro version. You can also try first the Soniface demo version. It's nearly the same startup menu except of the Vijing-Mode. You can see here Start and Guide. First, I want to recommend you the guide. You will find a lot of information about how everything started. We have listed a few aspects of what we developed within the past 2 years. Here you have different modes how to start Soniface. Sound only mode will turn off all visuals. If you have a quite weak device, or if you just don't like to have the visuals on, you can just tap on sound only, then to start, and the whole visuals will be turned off. If you choose grid visual, you have the grid visual of the Gridsynth. I will come later to it. And if you start with the Vijing-Mode, you have additional visuals. The Vijing-Mode refers to the visual interface, which is a main difference between the free version and the pro version. You just have far more options to shape the visuals, make a whole visual composition for each pattern. Then you have here the design modes, simple design and complex design. And the simple design refers to mobile devices under, I would say, under 7 inch. Many years we had the problem that the interface was designed for tablets or for desktop devices, especially touchscreens. So now you have also the possibility to handle the software better on smartphones. You can also run the iOS version of MazeTools.Soniface Pro on the Mac, and you can use your trackpad for touch. Just start the software and then go to settings and then allow touch alternatives. I want to show you the main differences between the simple design and the complex design. We'll just start now with a simple design with the grid visual mode. You can choose out of different presets like natural bus, fat bus, cursive bus, etc. Or go to options and go to projects and choose out of different projects. There are several ways to go to this menu. I can also go back via this back button, go back and just open this menu again. Here you got the play and the mute button. You got autoplay. This refers to the pattern mode. When you have several patterns and you tap on autoplay, you will have an automatic playback of all patterns. Hyperplay, this refers to all hyperphases or live pads. I will just add a hyper bus like this one. I will just play. So this is now looping. And when I go now back, I'm in the base menu. Just tap here on the free space of the main screen. Tap on hyperplay off, and the hyperphase, the live pad, will turn off. This is really useful when you have motion tracking connections to the hyperphase if you want to interact live directly and not have it looped all the time. The keys. This is how the app looks in the simple design, and I can just restart the app now so you can see complex design. I will start now the Vijing-Mode so you can see the difference. So here I make the same now, just a hyperbus. And you see the visual of the grid is now combined with further visuals, different mirroring, etc. and iterations. And yeah, this is the look we use when we make our performances here in the lab. We start now again and go back to the simple design. After we have a little overview of the design modes, I will just go to setup, where you have different options. In the audio, you can define the BPM and the volume and the pitch. These three values will be saved pattern-wise. When you change the BPM in one pattern, it will not affect the other patterns, except you turn on fixed speed. When you have fixed speed turned on, all patterns will have the same BPM. Here you can also find the Ableton link. It will also ask you to access the network. The link structure provides that every app which is in the link structure have the same tempo. Okay, here master EQ, which is really useful. You have the system settings where you can change also the color mode, and here you can also define latency, visual quality. If you wonder why you have this little dot here on the screen, it's an icon of actually a couple of instruments which are behind this. The position here on the screen refers to the Gridsynth. Tap on this, it will open the Gridsynth. The main function here is the wave icon to play actually the Gridsynth. And this refers, I can just turn here again the help text. This refers to the volume and the frequencies. So you can hear now, it's shifting the frequencies when I change the angle of the controller. And it changes the volume when I'm changing the radius of the controller. If you don't like to have a drone, you can turn on here trigger. This means the grid will respond if you move this little dot on the screen. For this you can also make an animation. Or you can go to the live pad and also play a melody by touch interaction. Now turn off trigger, it will be combined. It will be the triggering of the individual notes and also the drone. And then I can make the radius less. And you have a nice combined sound of a melody and a drone. And if you wonder which notes are triggered here, you can see this on the one hand here in the live pad. But why we have just here these notes? So I go here to the key interface. I have now scale selected, the C pentatonic neutral. When I change now here the notes, maybe just to C, this takes influence of the octavation, and go now to the live pad. You can see I have just C notes here. So with the key interface you can choose from a bunch of scales, or you can build your own scale. Let's go to the sampler, and within the sampler you got also a granular instrument which you can activate by using the grain shape controller. To hear the effect of the grain shape is by making the grain walking like this, and then just holding the position where the grain playhead is. And then you can change the grain shape, the size of the grain space. And you can also sync the grain shape to the main BPM by using this sync grain function. Now we are in 120 beat per minute, and the grain shape refers to this speed. And the best way you can hear it is when you have a rhythm. So let's just turn it off and go to the other instrument, the rhythm. So here you have a step sequencer in 3 circles. The inner circle is the bass drum. The middle circle is the snare. The outer circle is the hi-hat. And if you like to change the sound, you can just go here to sound, and you see there's a number and there's a controller where you can change. Now I'm in the middle ring, so I can here change now the sound of the bass of the snare drum, and maybe also change the sound of the bass drum. And because we hear this is a sample, I can use the sample controller and change the pitch of the sample, of the drum sample in this way. And also the volume. Okay, and you can also filter the bass drum a bit. And change now also the sound of the hi-hat. And so go now back to the sampler and the granular controller, and first we have to turn on the volume again. You can hear it's now synced to the tempo. I will show you the spatial function of the sampler. Turn off the rhythm. Just tap here on play, and then it's off. When I change now the position of the maze on the screen, it shifts also the spatial behavior of the sample. So we have built in here a spatializer which works with distance, which have kind of subtle binaural effect. If you are on the desktop system, you can use this whole screen to send the sound sources to different speakers. So you can set up your system with a 7.1 system, a surround system, a regular one, or a 5.1 system. And then the screen is kind of a controller to spatialize your composition within the whole room with a 7.1 system. In a few of our performances, like the motion tracking performances we did with Tomoko Nakasato at SIMT, or also the motion tracking performance we did with Miyagara. We used also the 7.1 audio output. I will show you another thing, automation. The easiest way to show how automation works. Going on one controller like this, like the volume here, just tap on it and you come into the automation interface. And in this way you can now draw a curve, and this will influence the volume. You can see here on the side the automation interface is connected to several other kind of automation functions. For instance, sidechain, where you can sidechain a signal by the amplitude of bass drum, snare drum or hi-hat from the rhythm section. You have here the option of hand tracking. This currently just works with Leap Motion on PC, but we work also on this to have it on mobile or via webcam on mobile. Here you have the body tracking interface, which works also with webcam and with Kinect. You have the touch controller, when you can make individual touch setups. Here you have the MIDI input channel, so you can, when you have an external MIDI keyboard with a knob, you can just use the knob to control here the volume of the sampler, or you have a MIDI out where you control a MIDI output channel. And like you can see, I have here a sample which is in the library within the tab Scape. These are sounds we recorded by ourselves or asked friends if we could use samples of them, and we implemented them into the software. We have also a few musical samples, and like you can see here, it's the user section. It's a custom sample folder. You will find it when you go to the guide. Go now to the section of frequently asked questions. Here you have a description of the local Soniface folders. And here you can see it for iOS, Android and PC. For Android, we currently have not a folder within the main folder structure of Android. And we know that the default Android file manager don't show the whole data of the system, which is kind of hidden. You can use other file managing apps. Go to disk Android data and you will see the right folder to insert your samples. There's also a special thing about the user folder on macOS, because we are offering two different versions. One is over Steam, which I really recommend. Nevertheless, you can use also the App Store version. You can see there are two different user folders. So depending on the platform, it will have another user folder. And there you can just paste your samples after this, start Soniface, and then you go here to the library and then to the user folder, and you will see then your samples. So here I've just a sample I did record. So I have now a drum sample within the granulizer, which is also really nice. When you have sync grain, you can use this in the way of a slicer. So we just demonstrate it. Just go to the editor, to the rhythm section, turn on the rhythm again. maybe just change a bit the grain shape tempo. Sounds nice. Also could turn on the room again. What I can also say about the structure of the rhythm interface is that you have here different banks to make different drum patterns. I can also copy a drum pattern by copy here, just tap on copy, go maybe to a new one, tap on paste, and we'll just paste the drum pattern I copied. And so in this way you can make really nice drum variations. So this is all just one maze. When I change the position, you can hear also it's changing the panning of the sampler. And this is a nice effect to then animate the position of the maze on the screen. And you have this panning changing within an automation. You can have within the free version up to 5 of these mazes, so you can already make quite complex composition. For example, just clone it, maybe change the frequency. Or just turn off the animation. And clear, I will just EQ now the drum pattern and make maybe an effect on this, maybe a bit of feedback, which is also distortion in this way. And then also change the sound of the granular, go back to the sampler and maybe change here just the playhead position, turn off the spatial. And now turn on the other maze again. There you have the live effect controller, and this affects the main stereo signal. You can now do some main effects on this loop. And yeah, because this makes a lot of fun, you also see it in our demo videos quite often that we are using the main effect controller. And just have a reverb, echo, where I can also change the echo sound with a filter. Or you have also an envelopes controller, which alters all note length when I make it like this. The note length rhythm section, when I make it like this, it's quite long. And this takes also influence of the grain shape controller. Same for the distance. Takes also distance of the Gridsynth nodes and the grain shape controller. So it's really nice to combine this then with reverb and echo. And then maybe make a transition to the next pattern. For example, make the echo really long, and then as soon as I'm not holding anymore the interface, the controller will go back, the controllers will go back, and then the effects are off, and meanwhile I will go to the next pattern and have this nice transition effect. The section of the project settings, I can just show you now. I will save my project, give a name, and I would just type it like this, 4.1, and then OK. Now it's saved here. If I want to record this, you can also record here to the record button and just rec sound and to record the main sound. I hope you enjoyed the stream. Just write a comment under the video or on Instagram, or just write us an email and support@MazeTools.com. Thank you for watching, and yeah, have a nice day. Bye.